think it's normal in football that we have a model, a Sierra Leone football model, and we have our way of working. Okay, it's very, very important when we talk about the transition is there, the development is there. That's why I said to you before, again, the coaching side has to improve. We have to be very, very, we have to pick it up very, very quickly. It starts from the 15s. The 15s has to go right through. We will go there, we'll sit down, we'll look at what we think is going to work for us. We'll look at the environment, we'll look at the players that we have, and then we'll try and see what is going to work. Whether we decide to go with the 4-3-3, whether we decide to go with the 4-2-3-1, whether we decide to go with the 3 centre back and or the 3-4-3, it depends on the personnel that we have. That's how we're going to build around what we at this moment in time. Okay, I'm not going to bring a situation in for players to go into. I think going into what I think a 4-3-3 will suit us better going forward than the 4-4-2. Okay, because I haven't been here for a period of time. When we've gone with the 4-4-2, we've always had issues around our central midfield, where people are saying, "Oh, our midfield are dropping deep, our midfield, and how did they play?" And we're always, that's one of the reasons why we concede goals, because we don't have enough cover in front of the back four when it comes to defending our situations. Okay, so now again, we need to get players in the box. If you look at it, how many goals has been scored from Sierra Leone in central midfield in the last 10 years when I've been here? How many? So that in itself tells you we need something to work to improve the midfield. So in as much as we want our midfield players to get in beyond, you know, if you look at the Chelsea boy, what is the amount? You see how he plays. We need players like that are going to be brave to go and do. But then again, when we lose, they've got to come back in. So at this moment in time, we're trying to find something that's going to fit into what we're trying to do.
Alafitielo.
First, I heard the SG say that you would receive your letters of appointment before the end of this week, which would now require you to resign from your previous jobs, and then you would have to respond to the letters. Have you received and have you responded?
I think we get the letters this week coming. Yeah, obviously he spoke to me. We'll get the letters this week. The situation with Eastern Lions, I think that's very, very clear. I don't think people should worry about that. I think it's something that's been there from when I took the job. Okay, that again, Eastern Lions understand the fact, if I'm not leaving Eastern Lions to go to another football club, I think that would have been the biggest problem of no. I'm leaving Eastern Lions Football Club to go to the national team. I think they're very happy about that and they're very proud about that as well.
John, will you miss Eastern Lions?
Oh, I will. I will.
Okay, so then my next question is, before you were appointed, did you have say a realistic discussion with maybe the SLFA and the ministry, telling them what your ideas were? If you did, what form of support did they say they would give to you?
I think you've mentioned you listen to the GS in different areas, so it tells you me and him have been talking a lot. We know which way we're looking to try and go. I think he does convey that to the ministry because that's his job to do that. But we've been working around, a lot of work around planning and trying to go through these processes of what we're looking at. So yeah, we have been doing that.
So now I had the SG also say that you have to oversee all other levels from the under 15s upwards, you being the head coach. What is what has to be your working strategy with the other coaches and your immediate assistants 1 and 2?
I think, you know, when it comes to working as part of a group where you're heading, you have to allow people. What we'll do, we'll come in every now and then. That's why we'll have this induction where we're going to go and sit down and look at which we want to go.
Yeah.
And then we'll get everyone to once we all agree to everybody's comfortable with it, it's just a matter of how we go about it now. So me overseeing all those is just to make sure that, you know, don't forget, I'm the instructor as well, you know, away from being the national team coach. You know, those coaches all came through myself with the license and stuff. So it's just about trying to make sure that we're getting the right message across. We're getting the right message across. It's just a bit of monitoring, that's all. You know, where they need support, we'll come back in together and we'll work around that.
My final question.
Yes.
What immediately came through your mind when you were appointed? What was your immediate plan? What do I do first? Where do I start immediately?
Well, it's not a starting job for me, to be honest. I've not just come from nowhere and coming into the job. I think I've been around for a period of time.
Yeah.
So I already know which way we're gonna go. You know, I know a lot of people felt when I took over the first time, we said, well, you haven't done that. That wasn't the right time to go through transition at all. Remember, Alaji, you did an interview and I said, no, it's not the right time. I think this is the right time.
Anyways, let us take some text messages that have been coming in the studios. The number is 1053 for many official numbers. Send us your comments and be part of the show. We have Coach John KEISTER is a special guest after being appointed head coach of the senior national team Leone Stars. This one is saying the appointment of John KEISTER as the head coach of the national team is timely. I wish him all the best. Love Aish of State. John is saying the truth. So we need to start and give him the chance to look at the players. Azonto Ozil from Kenema. Please, John KEISTER, how can we attract those Sierra Leonean decent who are out there playing professional football in Europe and across the world? Because why I'm saying this is we have so many Sierra Leonean players in various leagues. This other one is saying, trust me, John KEISTER is the right coach for our darling Leone Stars. It's a good decision from SLFA and we are hoping God will surely give John the wisdom to succeed. Mr. Presenter, trust me, John KEISTER is the best coach in the country. He is very much disciplined in the game because our national team really need discipline. I love him for that. This is coming from Oscar. Super Large, please tell me about... okay, let us leave the internationals. Let us leave the internationals for today. We have more time for the internationals. But this one is saying to qualify Leone Stars is not compulsory to give players playing... okay, it's saying to qualify Leone Stars is not compulsory. To get players playing in top leagues, 90% of South Africa national team players are playing their home league and they are qualifying, while majority of our players are playing more competitive leagues but are not qualifying. This other one is saying, job well done to all the appointees. I wish them success from Lovaish in the show. And what I would love the guys to do, the guys that are sending messages, save me the internationals for today. Let us take a look at our national team and know where we can dot the I's and cross the T's, because we don't know when we'll have John again. So having him in the studios, we know most of you guys are having questions. So send your questions. The number is 1053 and we'll surely take your questions in the show this morning. But let us listen to the Secretary General of the Sierra Leone Football Association, the man who, of course, announced the various appointments of the coaches. The GS of the Sierra Leone Football Association says the FA is planning to hold a 2-day technical induction with the various national team technical staff. Well, according to Chris Kama, he stated that it is important for these coaches to be inducted so they can actually give them a top-class experience to compete at bigger nations in competitions. Well, let us listen to Chris Kama.
For us, our priorities in all of this, not to qualification at this stage. It's a transition. The coach needs stability. The coaches need stability. Now I make who appoint them wire. The next thing we do again for the first time, we call the media. We're going to call a technical induction session where they employ you for work. They give you training. They give you induction. They get a session, 2-day session. Now one of the top class hotels there. One, even the hotel itself get something for doing with coaches there. You know, see that at times when some team want beat you some country, they can go on a 5-star hotel, give you the best of food. You begin eat. You don't look at your diet, you don't know what you eat, you don't know when for it. You begin the next thing you begin enjoy. Say logul for no one. The next match they then go beat you na comfortable and a packet on a back and sell on a back on a country. We want for begin see that we coaches them get the top class experience. They in a top class hotel, an environment, how for begin think game competition. We for move from participation to competition. Once Sierra Leoneans live here, we for begin say, come on, we will beat Liberia. Not so about say, well, will they go up, will they go beat Liberia, will they beat Guinea? But that cannot be done in one day. It has to be a process, a playing methodology. We under 15 they play, if now 4-3-2 they play under 15. Now they play in the national team. But me as an administrator, I think what I go tell you is, would they get this session and would they invite the press for participate to tell us why the national team not do well? What are the faults? What are the challenges? We put a document together. Despite the technical strategy, you get a national football football team strategy. How do we combat some of the challenges there? One of them things here can be maybe a smart media office person can come say we need an overhaul of our national team, or we need a steady transition, because it may mind you can forget an interplay between experience and the young athletes. In national team, not to say where they can do experiments. Sure. You don't do experiment in national team. You dey balance experience and the imagine players. If somebody they tell you, say, imagine they hear about one boy yesterday, Darami, they play, it's age 18. If you play for saloon. No. It's age 18. Now club football they play. It's quite different from can. And they tell you, Mustafa Bundu has been doing very well club football. But he has not done anything for the national team.
Yeah.
Because we just take Mustafa Bundu from a youth age, we throw him to the national team. Mustafa Bundu would have gone through under 20.
Yeah.
A sound under 19, under 20. He do friendlies under 19. He go under 20. He play international competitions under 20. He graduates under 23. Where they can have the national team now full fledged. That's why you don't get 5, 6, at least 2-3 years experience. But as I see somebody, imagine the twin away just left here go Spain. You know, even do a whole season. He said the man for can play in the national team. I they talk then this year say when you be look, I know where the opportunity. Some when you look Salon national team, when I say the Joseph Tubis, you don't see picking day. Trust me, they see picking, they see kid day. You see top class players. Now that's exactly Salon for begin look at, and that's when we start to compete. Top class professionals, top class players.
The Salon Football Association, Alafi Taylor, you have been itching, you have been nodding your head, you have been doing this and that when SG was speaking. But few things you pick up from the interview.
Well, he was asking about having top class players for national team, and this is what I was saying. Do we have them now? And I said, was it on Monday? I said there seems to be some miracle happening now in the country. All of a sudden, and I don't know why, but there seems to be some miracle that everybody around football is just realizing that we have to start. That starting from afresh is the only way to go about it. Everybody just believes and realizes now that rebuilding is the best way, not giving tip-offs for players to come in, not warring with coaches, not sacking coach the next morning.
Is the Liverpool experience working?
Well, I don't like you people mentioning Liverpool yet. You see, it's working, and if they use the Liverpool approach, it will work definitely, because it's a whole process of rebuilding. You have to let some people go. There are times in life you take away emotions from your decisions. If you don't take away emotions, this you don't sacrifice, let him. If he's not worth it, then he's done his own part. Let him go. So this is time that we need to take away emotions from our decisions, because the decisions we make now will go a long way to affect anything we want to do with regards to national football. We know there are players that have sacrificed, but if it's time to hang the boots, let them hang it.
John?
For me, I think it is clear from the Secretary General, it's not about those players playing in those leagues, it's about what they can offer. We had stress. I went to AC Milan, it's a top league, we alarmed it, we raised it. He came to play for the national team, but what did he give for us? So that is very key. And again, for me, I think the various continents our players have been playing also has affected us to some extent. We are talking about the Guineans, competing or playing in top football flights in Europe, or other players playing in the Caribbean leagues, go to Azerbaijan and the likes. So even those leagues, the slow pace of those leagues is also affecting us. So when they come to play, you find out that after 60 minutes, it's a problem. And also John spoke about something very important about education. So for me, the education is not just about the players. When you deal it to the players, the fans start understanding. Because most times, we're going to be honest, all of us seated here, when we go to support Leone Star, all we care about is about bagging the goal, which is key. But when we go, goal, 1 goal. When we played against Nigeria defeated us 1-0. But we played, them beat 3, but we play fine. It's about having the right result at the end of the day, ensuring that we cover all the loopholes. And let me just switch a little, Alaji, and taking this opportunity because it's key. When you granted interview to the BBC, John, like I said, you've been consistent. I'm going to give you exact words. You told the BBC that we had a national team that have done well, but obviously aging. So we are bringing in a fresh group of players. That's not to say I'm going to get rid of everyone in the last national team, but we need to fresh up things a little bit more compared to the last time I was in charge. Building a national team is part of a massive transition Sierra Leone is going through. You spoke about how we're going to get the new players. For the aging players, it's obvious that there are few that you will need. Looking at it immediately, who are those players that you will need?
We'll see. We'll see. You know, we still got time before we probably get into the next qualifying match. You know, I always say one day in football is a long time. I'll come and see you and say to you A, B, C, D, Z. You know, by the time we get to that point, you know, there. We'll see. You know, again, what we'll try and do, we'll be very strong about that. You know, we're going to be looking at around what is going to help this transition. Whatever you do in terms of transition, don't forget, especially with the seniors, there's a few experienced players that we need to affect the group that we're going to bring in. You know, sometimes don't forget there are players around in the national team that you have. You have these younger players that are coming in. They look up to them. They're able to get them into a proper group dynamics in terms of how we work. Again, you know, I want to look at it from an outside perspective. You know, when we talk about there are players outside that we will need to bring in, sometimes some of these players that we have in terms of the experience and that have been around can affect those things for us. You know, because they're easy to pick the phone up and say, hey, what do you think, Sierra Leone? And because they probably have a relationship and all that, you know, those things work.
For some players who've taken the decision to resign, they're welcome if they want to come in.
We're gonna start all over. You know, we're gonna start all over. We're gonna regroup. We'll look at what we have, what is there, what isn't, and then we'll start again. You know, I don't think it's for me to sit here and say A, B, C, or D. But again, I've always said, you know, whatever we do is going to be the best interest of Sierra Leone.
You spoke about one thing which is key: private investment. And Alafi, Elijah, and myself, when we have been talking about the clubs, within this COVID period, most of them have been grumbling. We know about the economical situation. If when SLFA gave them monies, the monies were not even enough. Some came back. We can't play players. We've been looking at the backgrounds of those clubs, how much investment they have, how many of those clubs do have something they rely on other than just the gate takings and the likes. And in terms of private investment also, the last academy we could remember was the Great Bellamy that was here. And for us, I think it's high time we started attracting people who would not just invest in football, but have that foundation, so the job won't be that much tougher when it comes to you looking at players and bringing them in. What is the strategy to attract them?
You know, I don't think a lot of people, well, the people that have got the monies, I don't think they believe in football and as a business.
Why?
I don't think they do. I don't think they believe it works. So because they don't invest in it. And that's part of the problems.
Maybe they don't know how to.
Oh, okay. Probably that's another point. They don't know how to. But then again, if you're going to look at, for example, Guinea, you see the amount of people that are investing away from the FA. It takes the pressure away from the FA.
That's it.
If you look at the amount of private academies that are being built, they're not being built by the FA. These are people that are coming out that have got monies that go and invest those monies, build academies, develop it, and do it as a business. And I don't think we're very strong around that in Sierra Leone. For a period of time, again, I have to give credit to Babadi at Bo. He's coming and took an initiative. He's going to build a clubhouse. Okay? That's a start. Hopefully you get another one that will come back again, do a clubhouse. From the clubhouse, they'll go to pitches. They'll get 1 or 2 pitches. You know? Then they'll start looking at another club, another club, another club. But the private sector is very, very important for football development. If you look at the first division playoff in England, just going into the Premier League, that's about 100 million.
So, John, how do we attract them? We need to let them know.
People don't believe in it. They don't.
So
believe
how
in
do
it.
we make them believe in it?
Listen, you know, the clubs are struggling. I can see your clubs are struggling. I know people are always, we're very critical, you know. When people see that, they don't have to pay the player, they know you do this, they know you do that. The clubs are struggling in the sense that we don't have sponsorship. The clubs don't have sponsorships from the private sector, right? If the clubs don't have it, let's be realistic. Apart from the leagues that's coming now, wherein the gate takings are coming in, those are not something clubs should rely on as gate takings.
Sure enough.
Okay? I think when you talk about Sri Lankan football, $50,000 a year to a club will help immensely in terms of the development. It will stop all these things about struggling. And you want to tell me there are no corporate houses out there that cannot invest even $30,000 to a club and manage and market that? Because the more we can have those sponsors coming to different clubs, it will raise the standard so much in terms of our football development. But then again, we always rely on SLFA, government, SLFA, government. When we've got the private sector that can come in and be part of this development. Okay? Like for example, sorry, when I was Lions, Africell has been working with Lions. Okay? So if you have 10, 12, 14 Africells working with all 14 Premier League, tell me how competitive that would be.
Should we take the bull by the horn by letting, now even if they don't want to come, a strategy wherein you bait them to come in?
Yes, you will do. But then again, I want to stick to the coaching side of things.
Let me bring in Alafi. Alafi, you have been itching to speak.
For me, what I think we need to do is an orientation on mindset. Because a lot of people in this country, even those with monies and the ordinary people, believe when they say football, nice, LFA, no more in government.
Exactly.
And so we need to change the mindset. We need to let people believe that football can be run as a business if you can strategically invest in it.
It is a business.
So we have to change the mindset, because the whole thing here is about the mindset. What do people believe? What do they think when it comes to investment in football? Because a lot of people who have these monies do not know what long-term investments are at all. And they don't know what it takes or what it means to invest monies in football. So what I think is lacking is the mindset. So we need a change of mindset. We need an orientation on mindset and making people believe that football is a business. When you invest in it, it brings back proceeds for you.
John, before surprising you in the studios today, the issue of neutrality has been very, very important. I remember when you were head coach of the national team a few years ago, the bashing you used to receive is normally FC hunting players. National team, also FC hunting players. And now we are coming from Eastern Lions to go to the national team. Could we not see another situation again?
Okay, this is very important that you've asked this question. I think people at the time, the fighting in the football was immense. And don't forget, I was head coach of FC Wansin. Okay? I can say to you, I disagree when people say I took FC Wansin players into the national team. Okay? I don't think it was right. FC Wansin players never went into the national team. Now, because there was a lot of fighting, people failed to distinguish between what it was and what it is. Now, when I went into the under-23s, Super Large, I took over the under-23s. We had a situation, okay, where I had about 30 or 40 odd players called. That was during Ebola, okay, where we were training. We had a situation where, during that period, a few clubs pulled out because they felt at the time they didn't want to be part of what the SLF was doing. They pulled out. But don't forget again, the under-23s is an age-restricted category. Okay? It's not the home base or whatever it is. So the players that we brought into the under-23s at that time were all under 23 years old. Okay? But what happened? Because a lot of the clubs pulled out at the time because of the fighting, what was my other option? I didn't have an option. The option was I go with what I know to represent Sierra Leone. And by that, again, what I did at the time, there were still other players involved, but we went through with the under-23s. We still got the results. We went into Cameroon. We played 2 games in Cameroon because obviously with Ebola we couldn't play. We still qualified. We went to Algeria. We was 1 match away from qualifying for the Olympics. So nobody can sit there and say to me, I took players into FC Johannesson. No, it wasn't right. It was because of the fighting. That wasn't under 23. I wasn't in the national team. So how could I take players into the national team from FC Johannesson? So that itself is not
So
correct.
now how do we ensure fair representation?
There is going to be fair representation. It's always been my thing. I don't take players. Okay. The other thing we don't understand is when we went into the national teams before, we have about a month or 2 weeks, 3 weeks to prepare. What are you going to prepare in 2-3 weeks when you bring different players from different clubs? It's not possible. So you go with what you know, going into what you're going into. You understand what I mean? Now you're sitting there with Alaji. You guys are sitting here. You work with Alaji for a period of time. Alaji has to go to a new job, but he needs to get this done in the next 2 weeks. You want to tell me Alaji's going to take somebody from McKinney that he doesn't know to come in straight? No, he's going to say, John, let's go. It's a short-term fix. Okay? Sure. Now the long-term is different. You have a period of time to assess and make proper decisions now. So that's what it's been like. It's working with what you know in the short term to try and get a job done. So I don't want people to think, oh, because of that, now I've left Eastern Lions, I don't work that way. I think the players know me better. Even at Eastern Lions, they know how I work. Even the players that have been in the national team with me, they know how I work.
The strength of the league is as good as the decision you will take in adding to the strength of the national team. Because when the country has a very strong league and that league is highly or hugely competitive, it makes the job easier for the coach. Having coached Eastern Lions and now the national team, what's your assessment about the strength of our league?
To be honest, it will get better. It will get better. Again, the reason why it will get better, if we have a pool of players with the quality, it will get better. I think we've had the same players in the last 9 years. So we haven't really developed new players to come in. So that in itself, these are the same players that are playing at Parade. These are the same players that are playing at what do you call it? Approved School? Mafafield. They are the same players. These are the same players that are hanging out, going to beach now this morning where they start. You will see them all day together. But these are the same players that are playing in the Premier League for different clubs. So it's not. It doesn't. Every day. It takes everything out of it.
Okay.
Do you understand what I mean?
It is
So
the
it's not
Saturday
competitive
football
anymore.
show live on Afi.
So unless we start bringing, when you start bringing an influx of new players, the competition becomes better again. But the same old player, the cinema, I made back, I made the player, it becomes paddy business.
Anyways, interesting in the studios. Alafi, let me just give you a minute to have your bite on this one.
Yeah, you know, as the coach is rightly saying, just as we were discussing when we had the female league discussion, I said if they are to organize a female tournament now, you have players playing in Freetown and then leaving to Bo in the morning to go and play for Bo, because we have very few players. For me, what I think we have to do now is, if the funds are available, have these mini leagues running of the 15s and there, because once we start scouting players from school levels, from area levels, then we begin to impact into them what we want and what we think is right and good for the game. But if these players only come to meet serious coaches at 18, 19, 20 and above, some of them already have their own training. They have their own mindset and their own perception. Changing that is going to take a whole lot of time. So what we have to start doing now is scouting the talents from schools, from areas, area leagues and other things like that. Because when we have them now, we know we have a pool of players to select from, and then we begin to breed them with the mentality we want and the mentality we think is right for the national level.
Two foreign-based players whom have worked with John KEISTER had to say something about him after his appointment. First, let us listen to David Simbo.
I think for me, it's a perfect timing, the reappointment of the head coach, John KEISTER, because I know we have a plan. You know, when he was first appointed, because you've been there, you know, a couple of times now. You've been working with every foreign coach. We have played under in the national team, the likes of Olaf Martin and then Mackinson and Sly Tete. So I think John is is a good coach, and we always we always like him in the national team. He has been a very hardworking guy. You know, he has the passion, he has the ambition. You know, so for me, the second appointment of John again into the national team is not a surprising thing to me. You know, because you know I believe in his mentality. I believe in his philosophy. You know. I think the only thing we need to do now is to give him the willpower to actually let him do what he wants to do, to let him build exactly a team that's going to take us to the next, chapter of the national team. But like I said, we have still good young players that are actually breaking up right now to the national team, and we have also experienced and matured players into the team, like some of us, the likes of the Simbo, the Zingele, Alfred Sanko, Medo, yeah, just to name but few. We're still part of the team. We're still looking forward, to continue playing, more games for the national team, because we're still on this career, So like I said, I think for me, I've been working with John, for modern years. I've played under him, with all these coaches. So I think, like I said, the most important thing for me is not a surprising thing for me, for him to be reappointed again as a national team. And I strongly believe, if they give him everything he required, everything he's going to request for, I think there's a bright future ahead of the national team. So otherwise, the only thing I just want to say, I just want to wish him, all the best in the second spell of the national team. And then I just want every Sierra Leoneans to just give a little bit patience. I know everybody has been yearning for qualification, but it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. Because we've been having so many difficulties, in the national team as well. So but I think John is a perfect coach.
Let us listen to Alfred Zagalo Sanko. Alright, okay. Alright, it is the Saturday Football Show live on Afi. We're having some technical issues with regards to Alfred Zagalo Sanko. But, John, one of the experienced players spoke about how you have the experience on the team, having worked with Jonathan McKinsey, Lazarus of Matson, Sly Tete. These are all coaches you have worked with. But what have you learned working with all those coaches?
There's so much to learn. You never stop learning. And I've never ever stopped learning, since been working with these coaches, Olaf, being McKinstry, and obviously the boss Tete. I always say the boss as well. It's been very, very, it's been a very good journey for myself in terms of my learning. Don't forget, I've come from a background where I played all my football in England. I've learned so much coming down here. So for me, it's coming down here and picking bits and bobs from people, different coaches. That's what it is. Even though when you're a player, you go through so many coaches.
Yeah.
But you always try and pick one thing of different coaches that you take.
And what have you picked from all these coaches?
I started off with Olaf. With Olaf, I think it was the experience around, how he managed situations, because he was older. Okay. McKinstry was young. I was older than him, and he had his own exuberance around how he did things. And then with Sellers, I think Sellers is just a temperament. I've never met. He probably was more reassuring than anybody else I've met.
Wow.
He always said to me, John, don't worry, what will be will be. And for me, I've always took that. That's probably one of the best things I took away from him.
Wow.
And Super Large, when I say that, you don't understand. We were in a situation,
yeah,
where, again, with everything that was going on, we were in a situation where,
I remember you came close with Sellers. The game in Ivory Coast where we were robbed, by the way.
We were practically robbed.
I remember we was in a situation, we've been in two different situations, mate. And, just when you get, when you're caught up in the middle of, you're thinking, oh, here we go again. And then it's like John. He would tap me, John, don't worry. He said, what is written is written.
Anyways,
you find that funny, but that was so reassuring. And then it makes me just, and then you could just click and say, it's true. What are we worrying about? You know, what God says is going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah.
There's nothing to worry about. And that just reaffirms, you know, it just gives you a bit of, you know, whatever is around the whole group. So, you know, I've picked a lot out of that. I've picked a lot out of. So that for me, my journey has been, it's been like that. And I've learned a lot as well from the players. You know, you learn from the players. You learn from people as well. You guys, I learn from you guys a lot. I don't think you understand that. You know, every time you do a program, we listen to it.
Yeah.
You pick things up. I'm thinking, okay. You know, and you try and see, well, why isn't it? Why is it?
Okay.
So these are little things that we pick away.
Anyways, we'll just wrap up in the next 10 minutes. But I think let us do justice to our fans, John.
Sure.
Maybe they will have one or two questions they would love to ask John via a phone line. So maybe I think we can just take 3 or 4 calls before wrapping up in the next 10 minutes, because we want to thank Tamba B, by the way, for giving us some time in his own BDP show. Thank you so much, Tamba B. We appreciate you. But in just 10 minutes, we'll wrap up. The number is 077 001 053. 077 001 053. We take 3 or 4 calls and then we wrap things up. John, I know you're a little bit exhausted now in the studios. It's been tough, but messages have been coming in. To invest in football in this part of the world is scary because political interference, sentiment. We have, I think the caller is gone anyway. John, you are going to save millions of people, and among these, you have critics. What are your words for them? Mature of Heroes Club. Good analysis from you guys in the studios. It's the Two Talk. Nothing about the Toots. Thank you guys. Thanks to John Keister.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, I just want to. This question is now going to John Keister.
Yes.
I just want to know if he's still going to be the coach for KEISTER Lions.
No, he has actually. It's not official, but I think he'll be resigning soonest. I can confirm. Anyways, this one is saying John Keister, the long waiting dream had come true for appointing you as the national team coach. We hope you don't disappoint. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Your name and where are you calling from, please?
Alpheus of KEISTER Lions.
Alpheus of KEISTER Lions. Can you make it brief? What will be your question to John Keister?
Yeah, God bless you all at the studio. Of course, I listen to the coach where they had man at the country winner John Keister. Now, man, we're very talented of coaching. Now, man, we're ready for land. Inshallah, let God help us. Let God get the wisdom and understanding. We don't cry for them. God don't make them don't get the job. Which we all look up to now. Let them get on the free hand. Let them allow our ladies doing job. Now, man, we're very talented. Nobody gave, nobody needs somebody gave. But it's still a land. Yeah, with the big, the kind of don't pick the coaches, and so let them give them chance. Let them give them the support. Football, na technical something.
All right.
But when we qualify, we always see. Don't go play Ivory Coast, outside country, we see how we end up. We get penalty, they don't blow. So for the SLF is step, for grab, they snap. If they want to qualify, everybody still call and so because football have money. Not all about SLF, your government. Would I get money like come and sponsor for let the country develop our football? They are with the bed. John Keister is a very good coach.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Anyways, let us have another caller as we wrap things up. Yeah. This one is saying John Keister deserves the job. As the saying goes, what belongs to Caesar, give it to Caesar. Oscar Jr. in McKinney. Super large. If Keister doesn't play with 4-3, that's... hello, good morning. Or good afternoon, sorry.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah,
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon now. Your name and where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, I'm Mustafa from Pigeon.
Mustafa, make it brief. What will be your message to John Keister?
I want to know if John Keister is going to extend his under 15 to every district or region.
Absolutely.
He has confirmed he's going to the various regions.
That is what I want to know.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So we'll take just 2 calls and wrap things up. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning. Good afternoon, sorry. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Alpha. I'm calling from KC.
Alpha, what's on your mind? What's your message for coach?
Yeah, I just want to know how long John Keister has been doing his coaching business. How long? Okay, John will respond to you. Final caller, EJC. Let's take our final lucky caller for today's show. We want to wrap things up and make way for the big man Tamba B in the studios. This one is saying, if John doesn't play with 4-3-3, that's not John, a coach who is so cautious about his defense. We hope not to see players playing there
way to the national team as alleged by Kai Kamara. Oh, wow. Jawan Balak of Full Edwardians. This other one is saying, John, how neutral will you be when it comes to selection of players for the national team? Because you are former East Lions coach.
I think you've spoken
Yeah,
about
he has
that.
actually spoken about that. The number is 0770011053. Let's take the last call for today's show as we wrap things up in the studios this morning. It has been a very, very productive Saturday football show with our head coach, John KEISTER, head coach of the national team, Leone Stars. This is the one is saying, John, how can we attract these Leone and this to how they are playing professional football in Europe? This is Texas sending a question with no name. Can you please stay away from your radio set, please?
Good afternoon.
Good after. Oh, okay. I think he's gone. John, you're about to go into a very difficult job. You're about to go into a job that has so much critics. What are your words for the fans? Macho of Heroes Club, John.
I think it's normal when it comes to football. There, again, I've just mentioned, football is about opinions. You're gonna have people that will make their own opinions. You know, there's two things. It's gonna be me or it's gonna be somebody else. But what I'm gonna try and do, I'm gonna try and create a situation for Sierra Leone going forward. That will be my base to work from. You know, in terms of we'll overhaul the football system, we'll get the transition, we'll get the players. It might be me, might not be me. Probably Daniel, who is sitting there. They're probably going to be the ones qualifying Sierra Leone. But we're going to create a platform where we will bring a group of players in that are going to that will do very, very well for Sierra Leone. So for me already, it's a win-win situation.
Anyways, we'll give up on the calls. We'll take no more. Time is not in our favor. It has been a very good show. Alafi, what will be around in courtesies to coach and the rest of the team?
Well, it's congratulations and
Thank you.
It's thank God. I'm happy he knows the task ahead and he's more than prepared for the task.
And you have been calling for him to be given the job for too long.
Well, you know, I want to be a prophet these days. So I've been thinking that that's the best way around it.
Because the week he was appointed, by the way, you stated that give him a 3-year contract.
Yes.
You were in that seat.
Yes, and I think maybe just the SLFA had me. And they knew a prophet was speaking. So I would end with the words of Chris again when he was doing his presentation. Save all your criticisms. Save all your malice. Save any grudge or hatred you have. Give the coach your genuine support. Let's rally around the national team and let's all make it happen.
John?
Yes, first, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we're happy for you. And from the calls we've been receiving, it tells you the fans are with you and all they want to see is Sierra Leone first. And I will end on this note. If I do not end on this note, then it will be a problem for me. Since you will be overseeing all the national levels, what are your plans for female football?
Oh, female football is going to be resurrected. We have I think probably the General Secretary hasn't spoke about it, but we have a good plan for the female football. It's going to be a national female league. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I think what will happen is the regions are going to run at regional levels. And what we're going to try and create, because again, the female football hasn't been so with everything in terms of personnel. So we're going to develop it. So we're going to develop it to a level where they play regional levels and we get regions to bring teams. We'll have 4 teams from the western area.
Yeah.
We'll have 3 from the south, 3 from the east or 2 from the east, and then we get 3 from the northern region. Okay?
Yeah.
So when we get those teams, we form a national female league of 12 teams.
Wow.
And it's going to be like the Premier League. That's what we'll be like.
Fantastic. John, all will be around in courtesies, Coach John KEISTER, to the fans, to those who have been calling for you to be appointed, for those who believe in you also, because I've always said if there is someone to do the business, it has to be you. You have been around for too long.
Thank you.
And what will be your message to the football family?
Well, you know, it's like I said before, I'm very humbled. You know, it's an honor, you know, with the support in the whole country. You know, people believing and trusting that I can come in and do a job for Sierra Leone. And you know, I've always said that when I left England to come back here, I said I've come back to be part of this development. If there's any way I can make my own little contributions, I'm ready to do that, and hopefully this is the time. But again, I cannot do that without you guys. I cannot do that without the punters, the supporters. I cannot do that without the support. What we are, we're Team Sierra Leone. I'm not just John KEISTER, we're Team Sierra Leone. Whatever happens, I'm still learning. I'm going to make mistakes along the line. But then again, hopefully I make mistakes that are genuine mistakes, not mistakes that are not, right for Sierra Leone football. But then again, hopefully I'm learning from those mistakes as well. That's not going to hurt us. So what I want to say is give us the opportunity. We, the coaches that have been appointed, give us the leeway. We've got time, hopefully, and support us, whatever we're doing. Just look at the Liverpool process. Okay? Good luck to everyone, and thank you very
does
much.
not love when they mention Liverpool.
It has been a Saturday Football. Thank you so much to the BDP production team, Tamba B, Jida Kiss Commander, the crew for giving us this time. We appreciate you so much. Till we return again next Saturday, thanks a lot to Alafi Taylor. Never walk alone, the indefatigable.
Sympathizing Barcelona.
John Whitfield and Coach John KEISTER as special guests. We'll be back again next Saturday. Till then, have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.